What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. I thank you and I appreciate you guys for continuing to roll out with me. I am looking forward to having an incredible show, and let me tell you why. We had an incredible, and I mean nothing less than sensational and phenomenal webinar last night on the Patreon. So for those of you that missed it, I immediately took down the original webinar, uploaded the video so that you guys can rewatch the video. I had some great questions. We streamed for about an hour and 45 minutes last night. I will be streaming on the Anton Daniels channel tonight, so that's all housekeeping, but we had an incredible live stream last night, and it was great. So thank you to everybody that's a bag chaser that allowed for me to be able to pour into you guys and add as much value as I did. As usual, there is nobody and nothing, and I stand on this. I stand on that. There is nothing and nobody that is doing what it is that we're doing inside of the Bag Chasers, inside of Patreon. Not one person. Not one person. There is not one person that is doing or has the level of information that I share with you guys. And then you have the support group as far as the Discord, and that link is in the description of any of the most recent videos. There is nobody that is doing and giving the level of game that we give inside of the Patreon and show you the receipts that go along with it. Think about that. This ain't just talking. This ain't just classes. This ain't just a module for you to work through. This is me having conversations and interacting with you and showing you my back end and showing you the receipts and showing you my AdSense and my payments and all of that other type of stuff. Where else do you get that level of information? You know, the interesting thing about that is, and let me just have this conversation with y'all before we even really deep dive. The interesting thing about it is that you'll have people that sit there and say, and beg for reparations. You'll have people that sit there and have a conversation with you about what they don't have. They'll sit here and say that rich people or people that have resources or those that have done it never give back, or they never, give you the information, or they keep it to themselves, or you don't have access to certain people. You have access to everything you need now, and I've literally given you my own bank accounts. I showed you my back end. I show you the type of direct deposits. I give you the information on how you can do certain things for free. Bookkeeping, everything. I show you and I give you the game. So I don't want to hear any more excuses from anybody that sit here and tell you or tell me, I don't care if you white, black, mother, single, woman, man. The language of money is universal. It does not discriminate regardless of what you look like or what your gender is. So if you have not tapped into the Patreon and you're not leveraging this information that is practically free and at your fingertips for you to be able to really, really run that checkup, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I'll let y'all ask me any questions that y'all want. I break down and I bust down and I show y'all and I give you the intricate details of how I've been able to overcome so many things in order to run that checkup. If you're not inspired by the idea that on social media alone, just from AdSense, has nothing to do with sponsorships or anything like that, and that I showed you my six-figure monthly payments, six-figure monthly payments from YouTube alone. If you are not inspired by that, then I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. So, link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to all of the bag chasers. I'm looking forward to meeting y'all. But we are going to have a venue change because I tried to monitor the weather. The initial space that we were in was outdoors, but it is apparent that it is going to be raining and storming and all of that. So we're going to have a venue change. So for all of the bag chasers, make sure that y'all tab into the Patreon so y'all can see the most up-to-date information of where it is that you can find me this weekend down in Dallas for the Patreon meetup. Also, the homie sent me this hoodie, and they have a clothing company. So this is not my product. This is a product from somebody that I very much value, and they put together really, really great things. The Follow God, Not Culture hoodie. That link is in the description of this video. So if you want this hoodie and you want to order it, I believe it's only like $60 or something like that, Rita. Is that correct? It's $60. They got t-shirts and they got hoodies, and it's the Follow God, Not Culture. I think it's dope, and I think that, it's absolutely incredible. And so if you want the Follow God, Not Culture hoodie, I'm rocking it. I rock y'all content. I rock y'all stuff. If you want this hoodie, then the link is in the description for you to be able to sign up and go and get this hoodie. All right. What other housekeeping do we have to do before we get into the show? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Let's get to work, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get started, let me address something really, really quickly. Well, first, let me read my first super chat of the day. Shout out to Hardbody Ty. Says, thanks for the webinar last night. You are welcome, my friend, and I hope that you got a lot of insight and information, and that you leverage that information for you to, continue to run that checkup. Let's get started with the show. All right. Let me close this out. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show, and I'm going to be tapping in. Let me give an acknowledgement to the Cash Appers also. Give me a second. I want to acknowledge you guys because I don't take you for granted. Shout out to Vernon Joseph Jr. I appreciate you for the 25 ball. Jamal Fowler says, keep cooking, Anton. Maggie, the substitute teacher. Shout out to Maggie, the substitute teacher. I appreciate you. Gone Postal was in the building. Heather is in the building. And Mike, that dude. I appreciate y'all. Also, Kay Cooper hit us with the 2 ball. Says, the video on how you make 6 figures is dope. It is the most recent video that's inside of the Patreon. If you guys have not tapped into it, make sure that you tap into it. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, so let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado. The first thing that I want to address, and the first person that I want to address, is Boyce Watkins. Now, my history with Boyce Watkins is minimal, yet complicated. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm even having a conversation about Boyce Watkins. I had forgot about Boyce Watkins because Boyce Watkins' content, from my perspective, is very, very boring. Boyce Watkins was one of the people that said that conversations with regard to money is boring to black people, allegedly, right? And I'm only saying allegedly because it's a slight modification. I'm paraphrasing here or whatever, but in a general sense, he basically said that black people are not interested, or people are not genuinely interested in conversations with regard to money. Now, I disagree. I just think that watching him is like watching a chalkboard dry. And I prove it every single day. We do thousands of people live watching a live stream, and there's other people that do it also, and they love to have conversations about money, right? Levi Apparel, I appreciate you. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. People love to talk about money. They love to talk about getting to the bag. I would say that they love it more than talking about relationships or anything else because, again, math is universal. It's the thing that draws all of us together, is our willingness to make sacrifices in order to get to that bag, right? Also, he was also very critical of Kevin Samuels when he passed away. And so we executed Order 66 and held him accountable for that. But I've largely forgotten about Boyce Watkins. And the reason being is because I just think that it's boring. I think that he's a boring content creator. I'd rather react to other things and other people in order to give you the entertainment, the value. And I don't think that he says anything that's worthy of a soundbite, right? And so I've largely left Boyce Watkins to his own. Because I don't think that he's really doing or saying anything relevant to the culture. Some people say, Anton, how come y'all can't work together? Because I think that he is sucker. I think that everything that he does and everything that he stands for is sucker. Now, why is Anton even bringing him up today? Why didn't I just let him go away, similar to how irrelevant his channel has become on YouTube? Well, somebody tagged me in a post, and they regularly tag me in a post, and I usually just ignore it. But I'm hot, right? I'm hot as fish grease as usual, and I'm starting to expand my reach on multiple different platforms, including including Instagram, right? And so people would tag me, and so I'll usually drop a short every once in a while or a reel or something like that. And, it'll hit or it'll be controversial. And most of the time it's either related to money or it'll be related to relationships and how it comes back to the money, right? And so people will then take my stuff and then they will repost it or whatever, they'll remix it or whatever it is that they're going to do on whatever platform, Instagram. And so somebody tagged me, and as soon as they tag me in something that people repost, I see this punk ass step baby daddy always commenting on my shit. And he always got something wild to say. He always says something negative. Like he'll just say something out of the blue that ain't even relevant. Man, I think Anton is cross-eyed. He just say dumb stuff just out of anywhere, right? And so I'm like, and you see the comments under it like, really, Boyce, like you don't really want no more of this dude. You don't want this dude. You don't want to see him. Now, here's the thing. I've issued challenges in the past to Boyce, right? That basically said, listen, we can show up now. Bag chasers already know he out of his league when it comes to showing receipts or whatever it is that he allocates or advocates for with regard to trying to teach y'all finance, right? And again, I would have left him alone, but why is he always commenting on why is he throwing slick shots, right? And so here's the thing. I've largely always issued this challenge to Boyce Watkins that said, listen, enough for the BS. Let's show the receipts. Let's show our real estate. Let's show our bank accounts. Let's show everything. And I'll put up, and let's do it. 100,000, $250,000. We can put up winner takes all, big bank, tank, little bank, whatever it is that you want to do, right? But he dodges all of the relevant things that actually could substantiate whether or not he's the person that should be having a conversation with you in the first place, right? What has Boyce really built? What has he ever really done? Is he really even getting to the bag, or did he capitalize off of the black people's pain in order to align himself with the Democratic Party and all of these Democratic channels, these liberal-leaning channels, to continue to keep you on a plantation acting like he for black people, but he not really giving you any insight? Listen, his stock picks are trash. His ability to communicate with you and teach you anything relevant to money is garbage. He has never really built anything or showed you any receipts as to why he should be validated outside of the fact that he's been educated in these liberal-leaning institutions that then give him a degree that doesn't justify somebody actually being able to give you real relevant information as it relates to how it is that you can get to the bag, right? But yet, even though a person like me, who is younger than him, more successful than him, is not as educated as him, and is willing to show the receipts, is willing to put up $250,000, 100,000, up to $500,000 as a challenge, winner takes all. He refuses to acknowledge or accept the challenge at all, but he continues to throw shots. Now I'm trying to understand why you want this smoke. Why do you want to continue to have this conversation with me, right? If you don't want this, you probably should just walk away. Walk away. You don't want this smoke, bro, because the best thing for you to do is to walk away. The best thing for you to do is walk away. It's nothing for us to even discuss if you're not willing to put up or shut up. And that's cool, right? You might need to have that money in order to take care of your stepkids. You might need to make sure that you continue to finesse the black community and not actually giving any kind of relevance to anything outside of you just giving your bad stock picks. Cool. Don't comment on my stuff. Don't go back and forth. I issued the challenge to him, and then he responded and said some things ain't even worth having No, some things is worth having a conversation for, because I think that y'all leaders, right? Y'all leaders are unwilling to actually show their brokerage accounts, their bank accounts, their portfolios, or anything like that, right? Again, the challenge still exists. Get whatever your little friends and investors, tap into them, and y'all pool y'all money together, and let's put up $250,000. I'll even pull it down to 100. I tell you what, you put up 100, I'll put up 150. You put up $250,000, I'll put up 225. You put up a $500,000, I'll put up $650,000. Cash. Whatever it is that you want to do. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and stay in your little, man, let me see something. Let me pull up what's happening out here in these streets. I'm going to read Super Chat shortly. Give me a second. Let me see what he got going on over here. He got the same amount of subscribers that he had the last time that I reviewed this channel, which was literally almost, 6 months ago, or it might have been a year ago that he was talking about Kevin Samuels. It might have been a year ago. He got the same amount of subscribers. There is no growth. His views is down as usual. Let's see. Let's look at a relevant video when you have to put them on child support.
This is for anybody who wants to accomplish things in their life. If you're lazy and you don't want to accomplish things, then just go back to watching Netflix or whatever you were doing before. But if you are a goal setter and you want to accomplish things, let me tell you about the rule of 100. The rule of 100.
Boring. Hold on. Let's find another one.
Speaking of money, I got a call from a woman who asked me if she planned to not put her child's father on child support, but asked him to do other things to make regular contributions voluntarily to the child, and he stopped making those contributions. What should she do? And I said,
is this Boyce Watkins giving relationship advice related to money and a single baby mama? Okay, let's see what he got to say.
You got to put him on child support. And she said, well, I don't want to bring the black man down and use the system against him and things like that. And I said, on what planet does it cost $0 to raise a child? When one person isn't doing their job, somebody else has to do that job for them. You know, and for all the men that disagree or think that that's being harsh, I ask you, how would you feel if you had a child with a woman and the mother said, I'm not doing anything for this baby. I'm not going to feed this baby. I'm not going to take care of this baby. I'm not going to protect this child. I'm not going to give this child a place to live. You would say that was a trifling, terrible mother.
Shout out to Simp Watkins, still supporting his step baby daddy out here. It's his step baby daddy narrative and advocating to do the thing that's the worst for the community. Let's continue to see what he has to say. This is the relevant. I just pulled it up. This is the relevant stuff that we see on this channel.
What if your mother had done that to you? So I don't understand this idea. I understand being patient with people. I understand working with people, figuring out how to improve your situation. But a man takes care of his kids. I think most people get this, right? I think most people understand this. But for those who don't, or maybe those who are young and still trying to figure things out, a real man will provide for his kids. And the truth of the matter is the child support really ain't that difficult compared to the overall challenge of raising a child.
As usual, completely out of touch with reality, completely out of touch with what men are going through, pandering to women, don't really understand what he's talking about, and continuing to talk nonsense based off of the fact that he decided to make the bad decision the same way that Steve Harvey made the bad decision. And he's pandering to women in order to try to say whatever it is that he want to say to make it seem like he's giving some good advice. Nice. Very, very nice. All right. Thank you, Boyce. Thanks for your contribution. So, as usual, let me just say this for one last time. Dr. Baby Stepdaddy Boyce Watkins. You see I'm hotter than fish grease. You see I'm awesome. And And so if you don't want to have this money fight, if you don't want to actually put up because and I'm okay with you deciding that you don't want to participate in this conversation with regard to money, but stay out of my comments, stay off of my videos, stay off of my stuff if this is not what you want to do. If this is not what you want to do. All right? I see that it's a troll in the chat, but we all know that Pocket Watching with JT is my guy. As a matter of fact, for the bag chasers, I have Pocket Watching with JT pulling up to the Patreon to answer all of your questions for a second time. For those of you that know, you know that Pocket Watching with JT already has pulled up to the Patreon, and it's a video inside of there from a live stream that we did in order to make sure that he answered all of y'all questions. But in addition to that, all of the bag chasers are familiar with my receipts. And so, we do what we do. We run a checkup. If anybody wants to see my checks, my bank accounts, my direct deposits, you're more than welcome to pull up to the Patreon and pull that up. It is available for the bag chasers specifically. Anyways, again, Pocket Watching with JT. We are in conversations, and he will be pulling up back up to the Patreon in order to answer all of y'all questions again for the second time in order to add value into the bag chasers' lives. All right. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We gonna continue to run a checkup. We gonna continue to get this money. So I just wanted to deviate just for 1 second in order to address Boyce, since he wants some attention for his dying channel. It's crazy. Anyways, let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to get back into the show. Shout out to Levi Apparel, says, hello, amazing people. Hello to you. Also, Levi Apparel. My dog, Persevere Data TV, says, now we can settle this like we got some class or we can get into some gangster shh. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog, Persevere Data TV. Ian is in the building, says, all these people that have so much to say never show receipts. And I wonder why. I'm liable to just log into my account and pull it up right now. But y'all, I know the bag chasers only want to get the exclusive, so we're going to make sure that y'all get the exclusive. We're not going to make it available to everybody. If y'all want the Follow God, Not Culture hoodie, you're more than welcome to tap in. That website is in the description for the person that sent me this hoodie. I think that it's dope, and so I'm rocking it. We're going to get to the money. Also, let me read a few more super chats. Elliot Jackson is in the building, says, about to start the Thousandaire Morning Show. Good morning, bag chasers. Also, that webinar from last night in the Patreon has me doing my 10-year plan. Do it. It's too much money that's available out here. Also, Elliot Jackson says, Boyce coming to the paperwork party. Let's go. Boyce ain't doing nothing. I have to salute him for taking on the responsibility of taking care of another man's kids, though. That has to be saluted. Nothing that I would ever advise you guys to do. So I see why he panders to women. Also, Mac is in the building, says, I don't get what was wrong with the advice he gave to the lady who asked the question, should she not put him on child support? No. First of all, she shouldn't have been having kids or breaking up with the father of her kids, A. And then B, there's more context that needs to be added to it. The first thing that he said, if you listen to the video, was that the man was taking care of the child outside of the child support. And so they need to work together instead of getting the state involved with what it is that she needs in order to make sure that the child is provided for. It's not about how much money that you can get. It's about what's best for the child and working well with the parent in order to ensure that the child is taken care of. Okay? So no, you don't just automatically go and work with the state in order to leverage them against the father of the kid. You need to work more effectively with the kid's parent in order to ensure that that kid is taken care of. Child support is not an end-all be-all solution to making sure that the kid is taken care of. Blaze Skywalker says, raised all 4 of my kids by myself and never wanted or asked for child support. I handled my business. Shout out to Blaze Skywalker for being a phenomenal father, because that's what fathers do. All right. So if y'all want relationship advice from somebody that has been successfully married with one person for an extended period of time, almost 2 decades, and is not a step baby daddy, come over here to the Millionaire Morning Show. We're going to make sure that you're taken care of. All right. Mods, make sure that there's no spam and all of this stuff inside of the thing. We gonna be on top of it. All right, so let's get into the real show, not that trash. Fun stuff that actually gets to the bag for the people and also adds a level of entertainment. Patrick Bet-David. I am a fan of Patrick Bet-David. I don't always agree 100% with Patrick Bet-David, but I think that I'm not sure anybody that 100% agrees with anybody, including the person that you lay next to every day, right? But Patrick Bet-David made an official offer, and he said it live on multiple different platforms, including his own, to Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker Carlson, for those of you that has been living under a rock, and I will be reading Super Chat shortly. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tucker Carlson has recently been dismissed from Fox News along with Don Lemon from CNN. Now, the first question that you want to ask yourself is, why is nobody making a huge offer over here to Don Lemon? Why is nobody making a huge offer out here to Don Lemon? But completely unrelated, we'll tackle that at another date. Patrick Bet-David says that he wanted to make an NBA-type contract offer over there to Tucker Carlson. All right? So make sure that you guys tune in. I'm about to play this video. I have not seen it yet. I actually seen his interview or parts of the interview from, I think it was Megyn Kelly. He was on Megyn Kelly, and he said that. So let me go ahead and play this, and then we're going to react to it, and I want to get y'all thoughts.
We made a public offer to Tucker Carlson on the great Megyn Kelly show a few hours ago. And then we tweeted our offer, and we put it out there. It's an article. You can see the details. It's crystal clear. To Tucker Carlson, let me start off by reading this. If you can zoom in a little bit more so the audience can also see it. You can find this on Twitter. Dear Tucker, I'll get right to the point. We want you to partner with us in what we feel is a noble and necessary effort to define the future of media. Here's our...
Y'all said that Don Lemon got a $50 million offer from who? Send it to me. Email it to me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and I want to review that also.
Offer, $100 million over 5 years, an equity stake in Valuetainment, president of Valuetainment, and a board seat to project your strategies, your strategic vision and voice, your podcast, plural, singular, and other daily, weekly shows, documentaries and movies covering topics you care about. What else? We're all ears. Our convictions about freedom, liberty, and truth run deep, and we believe we are the absolute right fit for you in America. While we may not be the biggest media company, we are a new media leader driving into the future to make truth, fair debate, and commentary more accessible, consumable, and protected. We are one.
What do y'all think about that? Let's stop right there. What do you think about that? Valuetainment and Patrick Bet-David is making a serious play at Tucker Carlson. And what I would say is, y'all said from BET, 3-year, $50 million deal. I'm going to check that out shortly. Send me the article. Y'all said that he got a $50 million offer from BET, Don Lemon. Okay, we'll get into that. $20 million. Now, remember, y'all, I don't know if y'all remember with the whole thing with, what was it called? The Daily Wire. The Daily Wire had made a similar offer. I think it was $50 million over to Steven Crowder, which then there was a fallout. Now Steven Crowder is under attack from his ex-wife after he turned down the offer, and then he also exposed the contract, right? But Patrick Bet-David is making an official announcement in which he's saying $100 million, which is the equivalent of $20 million per year over 5 years, an equity stake in Valuetainment. So they want him to be a minority owner, president of Valuetainment, and a board seat to project your strategic vision and voice. You own your own podcast and other daily, weekly shows. So they're saying that he can also own his own content. Documentaries and movies covering topics that you care about. And then they're leaving leaving it open and saying we're all ears. Now, I think that this is a wild offer, but it is very, very smart and it is very strategic. I'll get into it shortly. Let me continue to hear what he got to say.
100% serious about our offer, respectfully, myself. So if you're watching this and you're saying, well, I don't like the fact that Netflix does the woke and Disney does this and Disney does that and what, no problem. Then when other OTTs come that are trying to fight that and they tell you $14.99, $12.99, whether it's Daily Wire, whether it's whatever, guess what? Pay it. Pay it. Don't go say, I can't. Pay it. Because what you're doing to them, that money is going to be used to go get talent. So this relationship is a two-way highway. I remember I would go to charity events and I would say, Jen, these guys are going to want some money tonight. Get the checkbook ready. We got to cut some money tonight. Okay, great. We're sitting there. And I would say, if the argument's good, we'll cut the check. And I would sit there and say, oh my God, this is such a great point. We don't need one of those machines. We need 5 of those machines. How much is each machine? $59,000. You know what? 5 machines, $300,000. You know what? Absolutely. We'll support it. We were planning on only giving this much. Here's the money. Because it made sense. We need 5 of those machines in that city instead of just needing 1 machine. So, audience, this is a two-way highway. If you're sitting there not happy about it, you got to fund and help those companies that can do something with that money to get that voice to be bigger. And then, this is going to be crazier. You got to go and get that vote of other people also subscribing, just like we get.
I don't see, I've been searching and I'm looking it up across the internet and YouTube and the news and all of this other type of stuff. I don't see any official reports that says that Don Lemon actually signed a 3-year, $50 million deal. The only person that I see talking about it is what is his name? Star, the Star Report. I don't see that as an official anything anywhere. But what Patrick Bet-David is basically saying is that he's willing to pay and willing to bet and risk it all. Now, here's the difference between people that look at it from a worker's perspective or a visibility perspective versus people that look at it from an owner's perspective, right? I gamble all the time. And when I say I'm gambling, I'm talking about gambling on talent, right? Some of them hit, some of them don't, right? I'm willing to spend the money to compete with people that have much, much larger platforms. And so I want to mine that out for you guys so that I can give you some insight into what I think that Patrick Bet-David is trying to do, right? Now, Patrick Bet-David is building a brand, or he's built a brand. And the brand is really significant compared to what we think a brand is. It is valuetainment. He has a significant platform. He does different content. He gets into the relationship space. He gets into the money space. He has a podcast. He does clips. He does all of this stuff, right? And Patrick Bet-David is obviously a bag getter, not a bag chaser. He a bag getter, right? And so when you think about that, but you also have to think about him competing against larger entities like the Fox Newses, like the CNNs, because the way that Patrick Bet-David is getting it is he's getting it completely out of the mud, right? Everything that he's built is completely on his own back and on his own hard work and his own visibility and marketing himself effectively and putting other people on and investing in his platform and a background and being able to bring people in, fly them out, put them in the hotels and all of this other type of stuff. He takes the money that he makes and then he reinvests it back into his company, right? And so generating revenue based off of sponsorships and, the payments and all of this other type of stuff and AdSense and different platforms and everything that comes along with it is a part of what it is that he's doing, right? Now, here's the other side of the equation. Him investing in himself and taking a bet or a gamble on somebody that I think is a sure bet, because if anybody has seen Tucker Carlson recently released a video on Twitter, it had got like 60 million views in less than 24 hours, right? It is a gamble. It is absolutely a gamble because there is no guarantee that it's going to pay off. However, the ability to be able to monetize and capitalize off of it, but more importantly, give himself more credibility and build a bigger brand as a result of it is worth the investment and worth what it is that he would put into Tucker Carlson. So let's play a couple different scenarios out, right? Let's say, for example, he invests $20 million a year, which is the equivalent of $100 million over 5 years into Tucker Carlson. gives him a seat on the board, makes him president, allows for him to be able to own his own content and all this other type of stuff. The first thing that it does is it gives instant credibility to Valuetainment, and it makes Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment resonate in the minds of the people in a general sense. It gives them instant credibility. It blows them up, right? You can't pay enough money for that type of visibility and getting in front of eyes that you otherwise would have not been in front of, because Tucker Carlson commands an audience and a following that's much bigger than what Patrick Bet-David currently has. So making that investment in the talent, while it also benefiting the talent because you have a guaranteed amount of money that's coming into you. Now, obviously, I think that you got to work out the different details of it and how often he's going to go live and stream and all of that other type of stuff. But in a general sense, let's say Patrick Bet-David made a $20 million a year investment plus whatever the cost is to produce the content that Tucker Carlson would produce, right? And let's say through sponsorships and everything like that, that Patrick Bet-David makes a 5% return, a 5% return from a financial perspective back into his company. So a 5% return is the equivalent of $1 million in profit. So let's say that after all of the costs, expenses, plus salary, it costs him, for the sake of conversation, $20 million, and then they make $21 million. And so as a result, the return on investment in the first year is $1 million in profit. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Even if he made a $1 million loss on paper, having that as a write-off while also building the credibility of the brand of Valuetainment and attracting more talent, attracting more people that is making more money as a result of it. It is absolutely a great play. Even him making this offer publicly. Thank you, LLC. I'm definitely going to read the super chat. Even him making this offer publicly creates more visibility for Valuetainment. It creates more visibility for the brand. And so sometimes even me, right? You guys see me bringing in different guests. I fly them in. I pay for their hotels. I put them in the best hotels. I treat them well. I make sure that they're taken care of. Sometimes I take them to the game. I entertain them. I pay for their food. I get them a driver. I get them the best cars, the best accommodations, the whole 9 yards. Sometimes, depending on who it is that I bring in, it is a loss. It's a loss leader. But what I can't pay for is the additional visibility of putting their eyes based off of their content and their audience. You're also paying for that. You're paying to own the content long term. You're paying for so many other things. And so up front, it could be a loss, or up front, it could cost you more money. But on the back end, you become much, much more successful and you get way more money in the end, along with the visibility that also gives you the credibility to also pull in bigger guests and build up the platform and build up everything that comes along with it. So this is a strategic long-term investment that he's looking at, right? Whether or not Tucker Carlson ever takes it is a completely different conversation, but let's continue to play the video.
Somebody to get elected. So when I had Rudy Giuliani on the podcast and we're having a conversation on the, in 5990 Live, and he was talking about, well, the election this and the election that and election this. I'm like, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. He says, what do you mean I'm not for it? I said, here's what I'm for. If you think there's going to be any kind of cheating going on in the election, guess what? Get 7 people to go vote with you. Nobody should go vote by themselves.
A lot of people say, like Sam C saying Tucker would be smart to go independent. Why? Explain to me why. Explain to me why. Explain to me why it makes sense. Listen, everybody is not built to go independent. Everybody is not built to go independent. It's not always the best decision, or it does not always work out in your best interest, because everybody is not built for the production costs, and everybody is not built to put up the money or deal with the hiring and the firing and the assignment of what it is that you're going to record and how you're going to record it and how often you put it out and all of the editing process and everything like that. Musicians are not all built to be able to go independent like, say, my dog, Jet Life. Currency is an independent artist that works well. Wayne is not the type of artist that works well with being an independent. Nas ultimately was the person, right? Nas was the person that transitioned from being a major onto having mass appeal, and now it makes sense for him because it took him a long time probably to learn the other business side of it, right? It's a lot of Houston rappers, and it's a lot of different people need that visibility, and they need that production value, and they need other people to push them, and they need a marketing team, and they need AR, and they need a street team. Everybody is not built for independence. Everybody is not built for independence. Josh D said, Anton, why are you independent? Because I have a work ethic that's second to none. Some people are great at the talent. Some people are great at doing what it is that they're great. I'm great from a business perspective, right? If you are a part of the Patreon and you are a part of the Bag Chasers and you joined that webinar last night, you know that my talent isn't necessarily having conversations with y'all every day. My talent is looking at everything from a business perspective, which is why I make way more money than everybody else, regardless of how many subscribers that some of these people have, right? My talent is finding the right people and then putting them in the position of possible, or using my platform or using my visibility to leapfrog and give other people a platform to say and do what it is that they want to do. Some people don't want to handle all of the business side of it. Some people just want to get paid, get their fee, get their money, be taken care of, fly in, fly out. They don't want to deal with the logistics that come along with it, right? So it's a completely different mindset.
What do you mean? When you go to vote, you guys to do this. Okay. And we have the conversation. Announcements made. Tucker's coming to Vitamin. Fantastic. Guess what? Whatever is going to be in a private platform where Tucker can speak freely, and that is announced, whether it's with us or anybody else. If we don't get him, I'm telling you right now, anybody else that goes gets him. I'm telling you, go support it. God willing, it's with us because we believe we're the right fit. But if it's not, go support it. And
he is marketing and he is selling like crazy. He's saying, listen, support Tucker. We believe in his vision and we believe that we should be supporting people like Tucker Carlson. This is a sales pitch. This is a sales pitch. He's still selling valuetainment to Tucker Carlson by saying that we will support him regardless of what it is that he does or where he goes. Make no mistake about it. Patrick Bet-David, regardless of where he stands on the political spectrum, because obviously he stands on a conservative side and on an independent side. Let's be clear. The number one reason why Patrick Bet-David is making this offer is because it is a financial move. It is a financial move. This is a business move. This has nothing to do with, okay, yeah, I stand for this. This is similar to what it is that I tell y'all with regard to marriage, right? With regard to marriage, yes, you can love the person that you're with. Yes, you can support the person that you're with, but understand that it is a business. It is a business arrangement first. And if you understand the business of it, then everything else comes along with it. But first and foremost, Patrick Bet-David is selling. He is selling, and he is selling phenomenally the idea that Tucker Carlson should rock with valuetainment. Smart man.
FYI, let me prep you a little bit more. This is how sometime when we started a company, this is what I said when I first started the insurance company. I said, guys, I want you to be thinking about this. What's that? We're about to make this announcement, this technology. I'll never forget Bamboo when we first launched it, Tom. You weren't there when we launched it. It was the ugliest 3 months of my business career. Every day we were at the office till 1:30 in the morning with customer service live Zoom with so many different things breaking with this. And I kept telling them, guys, be patient. But I prepped everybody for 6 months. Not everything's going to go perfectly well. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. Be patient. Boom. It's crazy. We had 3 of our employees that used to work here. And these guys I said, listen, be patient. Long term, we're going to do something big. They're all diehard guys. We just announced that we want to do something with Tucker. They're all texting me saying, oh, my God, never thought that was this one. I said, well, you were impatient. If you were patient, we told you the vision is really big.
A lot of people are not bought into the vision, which is why so many different people fall off as a result of what they thought that they was rocking with or them rocking with you at different points throughout their career. Very few people is bought into the vision. Even with regard to the relationships that you have and the person that you lay next to. A lot of times they don't believe in what it is that you saying that y'all should do in order to make the sacrifice now so that y'all can get to the bag later, right? One of the things that I used to tell Rita all the time, I said, listen, 10 years from now, the conversations that we having is whether or not we going to fly Delta One or we going to try to get a private jet to go over there and accommodate us. And she bought into the vision. She bought into the vision, right? It's your employees. It's the people that you surround yourself with, right? It's a lot of people that's going to rock with you and they going to buy into you because they just believe in you. And so as a result, they going to benefit as a result of it. Most people don't have the vision. They don't have the foresight. They so busy looking at what's directly in front of them When I talk to people on a regular basis, right, they'll say, Anton, should I leave my company to go and get a $5,000, a $10,000 raise? How much money you make? $100,000 a year. How much they offering you over at this place? $110,000 a year. How long have you been at the place that you currently at? 3 months, 4 months. Nah, stay there. Finish, right? What was the vision that they gave you as far as how it is that they recruited you in the first place? Stop taking small chunks and small bites in order to make sure that you can make the long-term play and get that big dog vision. Build the relationships. Get some projects under your belt. Stop jumping around so much. And whatever it is that you decide to rock with, whether it's the person that you lay next to every day or the job or the business that you start, have the vision to then long-term execute on top of that in order to get to the bag. But most people don't have the vision. Most people don't have the ability to be able to see the opportunities that come long-term, and so as a result, they miss out.
When Tucker goes anywhere in the first month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, is not working at the pace you want it to be patient. The relationship is both ways. That organization's got to figure out the kinks, and you got to figure out the kinks. The benefit of going to a place like Fox, the benefit of going to a place like NBC, the benefit of going to a place like CBS or any of these places, guess what they have? They have 600 employees that are overpaid that can go and work on one person's project, 50 people on one person's project. So, but if you go to an independent organization that is not a $12 billion company, $7 billion company, and they're coming up, they don't have those resources yet. So the level of patience needs to be higher because the exchanges, while you go to NBC, ABC, mainstream, you're muzzled because you can't talk about everything because your biggest sponsor is Pfizer.
True.
Over here, you are not muzzled. You can talk about everything, but you don't have the 600 employees, and you got to be kind of patient for this thing to develop. But if the
But let me add one more caveat to that because he's absolutely right. He's explaining to you guys the pros and cons. And if you guys want this, follow God, Not Culture hoodie from somebody that sent me this hoodie. The link is in the description for y'all to be able to purchase the hoodie. I think it's only $60 or something like that, right? But here he's explaining to y'all the pros and cons of working with a larger organization versus working at a smaller organization. It's just like corporate America, right? If you're working for a larger organization, you'll have that machine behind you in order to empower you and get you the visibility that you want. But you'll also be contained because they're trying to get a return on their investment because let's be clear on both sides, you are an investment, right? And so at that large corporation, you'll have the backing, but you'll also be muzzled and you'll be controlled in that you don't have the freedom to do what you want to do. On the flip side, when you go with a smaller organization, you may not have the resources of 600 employees, but he's missed one selling point that I'm going to add in this. You are able to say what you want to say. You're able to do what you want to do. You can build this thing from the ground up. It is going to be a little bit more work, so you have to have more patience. But I would also say that I believe that you are able to operate much quicker, much more nimble, much more effectively because you don't have all of the layers that's preventing you from doing what it is that you want to do. At the end of the day, let's be clear. I can cut on my microphone. I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. I was telling the people in the Patreon yesterday of how lean I operate and how I don't keep a lot of overhead, even though I was showing them the receipts and I was showing them the six-figure AdSense monthly payments that I get as a result of streaming, or not even streaming, of having different platforms on YouTube. And then I was, breaking down the sponsorships, and we had a long hour, 45-minute conversation, Q&A, and then I was showing them my back end and stuff like that, right? At the end of the day, I operate so lean because I am not interdependent on anybody in order for us to be able to do what it is that we do. If everybody left tomorrow and I didn't have anybody, I didn't have no editor, right? I didn't have a personal assistant. If I didn't even have my wife, if I didn't have Rita, at the end of the day, all I need is a camera and a microphone, and I'm a cook. And at any point, I can cut on my camera and my microphone, and I'm a cook, right? I'm not controlled, right? When you look at these music artists and stuff like that, when I look at the individual ones or the independent ones, they drop when they want to. They drop when they see that the audience is resonating with something that they got going on and they about to go on tour, and so they drop. Whereas everybody else, they got to plan it. They got to have a rollout date. They got huge expenses that they got to cover that's associated with what it takes in order to produce that artist. They got to have the hardest artists and the hottest writers and all of that. And they don't make as much money. But it's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. At the end of the day, all I need is the ability to be able to cut on my camera and cook. I don't care if my camera is old, toe up. The majority of the time, I'm live streaming. I'm not live streaming on this. I'm live streaming on this. When you see me drop videos and I'm doing my vlogs and stuff, I'm recording this with my iPhone. I get it right back in the mud. I don't have a lot of overhead. I don't have a lot of people that's preventing me from doing what it is that I'm going to do. And so I think that also being independent allows for you to be a lot more effective and nimble, and that you can then cut through the bullshit and cut through the layers that allows for you to actually get to the heart of the people. I don't have nothing preventing from me kicking it with my people and having them come up and do a Q&A with me. When I say that I'm going to do a Patreon meetup, I fly to that city and I kick it with the people and I rock out. And I invest all of my own money, all of my own resources in order to ensure that certain things is taken care of.
Relationship with the users and the customers and the capitalist, the entrepreneur, the talent.
Cut out the middleman. You go straight to the customer.
Is honest and sincere. Long term, we're going to win this fight. But it's not going to be just the talent and the company and not the involvement of the talent, the fans and the audience getting involved as well. This is going to take a real teamwork effort the next 3, 5, 10, 20 years for us to win this fight. And by the way, if there's ever been a fight worth fighting, this is it. I was looking at a book upstairs shown to 7 of our executives about 10-year-olds, what book they're getting on sex education. I'm showing this clip, and the book is sold millions on top of millions of copies in public schools. They're showing positions on how 2 boys can have sex in school.
Yep.
2 girls can have sex in school. Then you have the missionary, which is a boy and a girl, which is,
it's regular.
A 10-year-old boy is going to learn how to have sex with another boy. Listen, if there's ever been a time that it's going to take everyone's effort, we're just sitting around bitching and complaining about it is not going to mean anything. You got to get involved.
Yeah, that's wild. That is absolutely wild. But more importantly, I think that Patrick Bet-David, this is a sales pitch. No matter what it is that he's talking about, listen, no matter how it is that he's doing it, sometimes a sales pitch has to be more than the money. Because when somebody already has money, it's very difficult for you to use money in order to try to get them to join your company. Right? You have to give them a purpose. You have to give them a vision. You have to give them an idea of how you're going to work culturally with them in order to solve for problems that's meaningful to them. It's not just about the money when you have money. When you're trying to woo people or you're trying to pitch people, you can't just pitch them with money. You have to pitch them with the ability to actually get off what it is that they want to get off. When I talk to people, here, I'll give y'all a little bit of a hint, right? Shout out to Patrick Bet-David. I think that he's doing awesome things. I love reacting to his content. When I'm pitching people, sometimes I can tell the difference between people that's used to having and the people that's not used to having, right? The people that I pitch, even in corporate America, even when it comes to, because you're selling them on why it's best for them to join an organization if you see talent in them, just as much as they're pitching you on the idea that they have the talent to add value into the companies that you have, right? Whether you're recruiting them to come work for you, whether you talking to them about an interview or whatever. When I pitch people, it's 2 different types of people, right? The first person that's interested is genuinely all about the bag. The only thing that they care about is the money. They don't really care about what it is that you're asking them to do. They'll do whatever it takes in order to get the money, which is cool. The other person does it like this. The other person that have options, right? They're not going to just jump at the first thing that you offer them. They then are going to make a strategic decision of how this thing is going to go, right? Sometimes when people come into the studio and I do an interview with them, they say, well, what are we going to talk about? And what is it that you actually looking to accomplish with this interview? And how much will I be able to say? And if I decide to say something or if I say something out of pocket, will you remove it and edit and have your editors edit out certain things that I said that don't make sense as far as what it is that and I give them that. I give them all of those courtesies, right? One of the things that Kwame Kilpatrick and I was having a conversation, and we removed a lot of different things that was outside of that I don't, that he felt, or even I will bring up to them. And I was like, hey, listen, I don't think that would be a good look right there. And he'd be like, you don't think so? And I say, no. He's like, yeah, you're right. We should probably remove that. And so as a result, when they work with me, it's a cultural fit because they trust me and they trust that I'm going to do the thing that's in their best interest more than any accommodation or hotel stay or anything that they can call me for. And so when you're pitching people, when you selling people, you can't just sell them. And this is a sales 101 thing, right? And this is why I say people do things because they like you, not just because you have the best product or whatever. When you're selling people, okay, you have to sell them on more than how they can benefit from a financial perspective or what you can do for their business or how you can add value to them or anything like that. You have to put them at ease. You have to give them a level of comfort with working with you. You have to help them to understand that you are in their best interest when you're having conversations with them, which is exactly what Patrick Bet-David is doing right now. He's not just saying, hey, listen, $100 million offer, board seat on the board, president, you get the vision, you get to keep your own stuff, and then whatever it is. He's saying, listen, I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in what it is that you stand for. It's some meaningful things that we can solve for while we also busting down this bag. Listen, I'm not telling you that it's going to be easy. I'm telling you that it's going to be a little bit of a ramp up and then it's going to take time for us to get used to each other. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to get this message out. If you believe in me, then I'm believing in you. These are the pitches that salespeople are giving you when they're doing it successfully. Think about it like this, right? And I always relate it back to relationships and I relate it back to people, okay? There's a difference between the woman that you lead with money with in order to get for her to rock with you, right? The quality of that woman is going to be completely different than the woman that buys into your vision and then she just benefits financially from what it is that you get, right? If you having a conversation with a woman, right? And this is why I always tell y'all, if you're going to get into a relationship, then get into it with your best friend. If you have a relationship with a woman, and actually this applies more to women than it does to men, right? Because the guy that usually you were supposed to be with, you passed him over because you didn't understand what his vision was. If you get into a relationship with a woman or you go up to her at the bar or whatever, right? She's going to assess a couple different things. She's going to assess who you are based off of how you present yourself. And then the other insight that she's going to get is going to be based off of how comfortable you make her feel in the conversations that you're having at the bar, right? The woman that rolls with you regardless of whatever the fuck you say based off of whether or not she's seen you pull up in that Porsche or that Lamborghini is a completely different woman from the woman that sat there and had a conversation with you and then you wasn't really checking for her and so you walked out, and when you were walking out, she says, hey, let's keep in touch. Let's exchange information. The quality of the woman or what it is that she's buying into is two different things. Now, relationships are transactional. So now you're going to have to evaluate whether you want to deal with a type of woman that is with you just because she's seeing what you pulled up in. It's a place for her too. Now, we're not going to go into what that place is. The flip side of it is the woman that you having a conversation with based off of your character or what it is that y'all were talking about at the bar is a completely different type of woman. Her interest is different. If she never asked you what you did for a living based off of trying to understand how much money you make, but really trying to understand why you dress the way you dressed as far as, oh, are you just getting off of work? Let's just make conversation. And she didn't trip when you said, I'm just in investments. I work downtown, nothing major. And then you didn't have to go into detail as a result of continuing that conversation. She's a different quality of woman. She's a different type of woman. I think I'm going to break this down on the Anton Daniels channel on the live stream tonight. But what I'm saying is your sales pitch. You're selling yourself regardless of what you think. You're selling yourself regardless of how you see it. You selling her on the ability for her to be able to ride in your car or for her to be associated with a dude that's high powered or a dude that got money or the visibility or the lifestyle or whatever. You could be selling her on the idea of buying into your vision. You could be selling her on the idea that we need to just remain cool. And then she just intrigued by you. And so as a result, she's curious as to, how it is that y'all going to have a conversation going forward. The sales pitch is different depending on how it is that you lead into the conversation. And I can tell that Patrick Bet-David is an excellent, phenomenal salesman because of how he pitched Tucker Carlson, regardless of whether or not Tucker Carlson actually take the deal or not. All right? We're all salespeople. How you pitch your product is going to be the determining factor for whether or not you get in that bag. Okay? All right. Shout out to y'all. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to continue with the show. LLC says Tucker Carlson got $35 million a year at Fox. We can't substantiate that. I did that research. Nobody knows exactly what Tucker Carlson was making at Fox. I already researched this. It's a lot of different places that anticipated it, but nobody actually knows exactly how much money Tucker Carlson made at Fox. They saying that he made between 20 and 15 and $20 million a year. So we don't know that. And I don't know that for sure, but it's all a guessing game because nobody actually knows. Sam C says if Patrick could pull it off, it would be a huge win for him. It would be a huge win. Sam C says Tucker's viewpoints are what got him in trouble. Tucker needs more room to do his thing. Terrestrial news is losing. Christian Bailey came over and dropped off the 10 ball. I appreciate you, Christian, for continuing to pour into us and add value into our lives. I don't think y'all understand this content creation game as far as being controversial and things like that. But more to come. More to come. Let's get into this Bud Light conversation. I want to mine this out. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. I love y'all.
Bud Light getting called out for turning off YouTube comments for its new commercial featuring friends enjoying beer at a country music concert. It all comes as Bud Light sales are down 26% from a year earlier. That's not.
That's huge. That is absolutely monstrous. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Sales are down 26.1% year to date. When they said go woke, go broke, they wasn't lying. Listen, and anything, if it drops 26%, we got a problem. I have not seen this video yet. And anything, if it drops 26%, it's going to be some furniture moving up in that mug. No matter what it is. 26%? Somebody got to lose their job for that.
Good. Outkick host Tommy Lahren is good, and she joins me now. Tommy, what does that number
I didn't even know Tommy Lahren still worked for Fox News.
Tell you? What does disabling comments on America commercial tell you?
Let's talk about the drop, first of all. That tells me that conservative consumers matter, and I think that Bud Light and all other companies out there are starting to realize that the hard way, that for so long conservatives, we get angry and offended by things, but then we never do anything about it. We don't come together like the left does to send a message or make a statement, but now with this Bud Light commercial and this backlash, it shows that conservatives, in fact, do matter. Now, I will say this. I wish conservatives could come together and vote like they came together to boycott Bud Light. I think that would be maybe a better use of our time. But I will say this. The fact that Bud Light now wants to put out this country-themed commercial, like somehow that's going to make us forget about the man who dressed up to mock women, I think, quite frankly, that's insulting, and it's also patronizing. It's like, all right, here you go, conservatives, rednecks, we'll just have a country fried chicken commercial, and that should make you all feel better, but we won't actually acknowledge the mistake and the error that we made. So
let me say this, right? It's several different companies that I believe don't truly understand the impact of social media in their marketing campaigns. We've seen the example of it with Bud Light that's happening right now, and that tells you that they don't truly understand their consumers. Another major example of it is Adidas. Adidas still has not recovered. As a matter of fact, I read an article. Let me pull this up. I just read an article. Yep, it just came out on CNN, BBC, all of that, right? All right, let me pull it up for y'all. Check this out. I'm going to come back to this. Let me go ahead and minimize that really quickly. I'm going to come back to that. Adidas sued by investors 3 days ago. This was just released, and this is courtesy of the BBC. 3 days ago, Adidas was sued by investors over the Kanye West deal. It says specifically that investors allege Adidas failed to limit the financial losses and take precautionary measures to minimize their exposure. The sportswear giant ended its collaboration with the designer and rapper, who was known as Ye, last year following anti-Semitic comments. In response, Adidas says, "We outright reject these unfounded claims." It added, while it will take all the necessary measures to vigorously defend ourselves, West is not a party to the lawsuit. The rapper designed a huge line of successful trainers under the Yeezy brand for Adidas. Adidas admitted that it could lose $619 million after being left with hundreds of millions of euros worth of unsold Yeezy products. Last October, when the company ended the collaboration, it said Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, dangerous, and they violate the company's values and diversity and inclusion. Listen, if you ever want to go broke, the first thing that you got to add into the conversation is this right here: diversity and inclusion. Anytime you want to go broke, all you got to add into this conversation is diversity and inclusion. And I guarantee you, your company is going down, down, down. Red team going down. Investors that filed the lawsuit in the United States against the company on Friday claimed that Adidas knew about other questionable behavior by West, alleging that it was discussed by former chief executive Casper Rorsted, as well as the management. They wanted them to mitigate the risk of staff interacting with him, as well as company possibly cutting ties with the rapper. Since Adidas parted ways with West in October, it has launched an investigation after reports he created a toxic work environment at the company. Adidas was not clear whether the accusations made in an anonymous letter were true. And blah, 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 blah. So investors are now suing Adidas. But again, this kind of gives you some insight into the fallout that comes along with companies not truly understanding their brand. They don't understand a brand. And so I would make the argument that Adidas made the wrong move in cutting Kanye West. And first and foremost, you have to come back to the front of the congregation and say Adidas made the wrong move by trying to allegedly steal Kanye West's designs and think that they would ever be able to sell those designs without Kanye being a part of the fold. People are buying it because of Kanye and not necessarily because of Adidas. Adidas was the beneficiary of the partnership that came along with selling billions of dollars of merchandise and sneakers every single year as a result of it. Right? The problem is that when they decided to dismiss Kanye or to divest themselves away from them, they didn't realize that everybody in the sneaker culture didn't give a fuck about whether or not Kanye actually was saying what it is that he was saying. They was rocking with it because they know Kanye is eclectic. Kanye has went off the rails 1,000 different times. He was on the Hurricane Katrina thing, and he said George Bush doesn't like black people. And guess what? Everybody still fucked with Kanye. White, black, Asian, everybody across the world. We all know that Kanye is liable to go off the rails. What Adidas didn't understand, and obviously the executives at the top of the suite or whoever it was that worked with them, what they didn't understand was that the true customer base and the people that was buying Yeezys didn't give a fuck about woke culture. They rocked with Yeezys because it was Ye and it was a dope product and he's a great designer and it just was what it was. So when they then cut ties, for some reason they thought that it wouldn't impact them financially, or that the woke culture and the people that didn't even spend no money on Yeezys was actually going to continue to support them, and ain't nobody even giving a fuck about Adidas now. And it's the same thing with what you see happening with Bud Light. The target demographic and the consumers that actually drink Bud Light, yeah, buddy, let's go out here and go to a country bumpkin hoedown, right? The people that drink Bud Light are probably largely, and I don't know for sure, but if I just had to guess, based off of sales falling, are largely conservative-leaning people, regardless of whether you're rich or you're poor, because it's poor conservatives and it's conservatives that actually get a lot of money. They tend to lean to be a lot more conservative, and they're not interested in seeing Dilvin Mulvaney as a spokesperson for their brand. They'd rather see Kid Rock, right? They want to see Aerosmith. They want to see people that more or less is a reflection of the lifestyle that they grew up living. Rock and roll, country music, shooting guns, going to hunt for pigs, and all of that other type of dumb shit, right? It's not the person that is going to then try to bridge the gap with Disney and DeSantis over there in Florida. Their target demographic and the people that buy their products, which is really the disconnect that you see from a lot of these large companies, they don't understand the culture by which they're selling their product to, right? When I jump on YouTube, right, and I say what I say, I know my people. I know my bag chasers, right? I know that they understand me. They understand that Anton from AntonDaniels.com is going to say some off the rails, off the cuff, wild shit. And you know what y'all going to do? Y'all going to love me for it. Y'all going to try to hold me accountable for it. You're going to try to understand it from my perspective. You know that if Anton is wrong, I'm going to silently come to y'all or publicly come to y'all and say, you know what? I might have been a little bit off on that. All right, I take it back. But I'm passionate about what it is that I stand for. And so I'm that wild cousin that comes over into Thanksgiving dinner that's going to say some wild shit that get the parents' eyes raised up and say, hey, kids, cover your ears. That's what it is. I know my team. I know my people. I know my demographic. So when I stand on something or I say something that actually may not be PC for the majority of the people in YouTube sphere, I don't give a fuck because they are not the demographic that I speak to. They not bag chasers. They not people that's looking to get to that money. They don't understand what it is that I explained to y'all yesterday during the webinar, right? They don't know this. And so Bud Light, whoever it was that signed up Dilvin Mulvaney, should be fired. Should be fired.
Until they come out and they actually acknowledge it head on, conservatives are still going to be upset, and we will not be drinking Bud Light. I can promise you that.
We were joking that their advertisement for the 4th of July is going to be with every six-pack you get an American flag. It's not a joke. They may actually do that. Meantime, Montana transgender state lawmaker Zoe Zephyr just filed a lawsuit after being censured by state Republicans. Quote, the effort by House leadership to silence me.
Look at this picture, y'all. Now, if this person walked up to you and said, hey, sweetness, want to take me out for a date? How many of y'all would actually believe what's being presented in front of you? Versus somebody that actually would be a little bit more leery of who's walking up to them and why they look the way that they look. But let's continue.
And my constituents is a disturbing and terrifying affront to democracy itself. House leadership explicitly and directly targeted me and my district because I dared to give voice to the values and needs of transgender people like myself. Your take, Tommy.
Now they're lawmakers.
All right, so first of all, House leadership was well within their rights to do what they did. This leader broke the rules of the court.
That person looks like they could throw a punch and knock your face off. Look at all of that, them shoulders. Look at them shoulders. That's an H, not a V. A V goes like this. A H is straight up and down. That is a H, not a V. I know y'all like my whistle. Y'all gonna have to get used to it.
broke the rules of decorum. And if this were a Democrat-controlled legislature, this is exactly what would have happened to a Republican. But let's go back to the comments that this legislature made to get themselves in this position. They said when you pray that you will have blood on your hands because you want to keep children and minors from being mutilated and taking hormones and puberty blockers. So let's go back to the actual facts on the ground here. The fact that this representative would think that that was appropriate, would think that that was something that was even logical or realistic is disgusting to begin with. But
what I don't understand, and this is, give me a little bit of rope here, guys. Give me a little bit of grace. What I don't understand, shout out to Bitcoin Brown, is what is so wrong with us protecting our children? Let's say hypothetically, right, that I believe that people should be able to do whatever the hell that they want to do when they want to do it. Cool, right? No rules. Do what you want to do. If you want to slap yourself in the face 10 times and do it. Awesome. And which largely I do. I think that the beauty in this country is the freedom that comes along with being able to do and make the decisions that you want to make every single day. But here's my problem, right? When you a grown person, I may not disagree with you, and I may strongly voice that I don't disagree with you, but it doesn't diminish your ability and your rights to be able to do whatever you want to do when you want to do it because you've grown, right? I can try to convince you that it's wrong, but you can still go and sleep with as many baby mamas as you want to, right? You can go and marry as many baby mamas as you can listen to Steve Harvey, or you can listen to AntonDaniels.com. You can listen to Boyce Watkins and what he did, or you can follow the blueprint that comes along with how it is that I went about doing it. You have the freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, but you do not have freedom from consequences. The other side of the equation, though, is that I don't really understand why we can't. Let's just say that you are more liberal-leaning, you are a supporter of the alphabet community, so on and so forth. What I can't figure out for the life of me is that why we can't come together, conservatives, liberals, alphabet community, straight people, and have a line drawn in the sand and just say, but kids is off limits. Even with regard to YouTube, it's a lot of people that say a lot of egregious things about me or whatever, and I understand it. I get it. It's a part of being a content creator. Here's my problem. Go and fuck whoever it is that you want to fuck whenever you want to fuck it. But why we can't, at the very least, say, but this is where we all gonna come together and draw the line. Kids are off the table. I don't know why that's so difficult for us. How come we can't just come together and say, listen, when you get to whatever age that we consider to be an adult in the United States of America, you can do whatever you want with your body. You can go and get whatever surgery you want to get to. You can go and have sex with whoever you want to have sex with. Awesome. There is no law against that. But what I cannot understand is how are people then justifying making the argument that children should be able to do whatever it is that they do, or parents should be able to enable their children to change the dynamics and the makeup in which you can't undo. You cannot undo it. I can't figure that out. We can't come together on that. So it's just war on that. It's war on our children. It's war on our children. The children are supposed to be the ones that we put all of the parental advisory and PG whatever, and this is rated this, or you have to have a parent in order to have a children go in and watch this, or the parent consent. I can't understand why we can't even agree on that. So we can't say that you have to stay who you are and your brain is not even fully developed until you're in your mid-20s for you to make an informed decision of what it is that you want to do with your body. You can't go off and fight wars. You can't buy beer. You can't buy cigarettes, but you can then change the dynamics of your body because you feel like it. Because you feel like it. It's wild to me. That's wild to me. Let's get some insight really quickly. I want to share with y'all another one. Not that one. Let's find out what this person that executed Order 66 on Bud Light sales are today.
All right, so we want to give a quick update on a topic we talked about 2 weeks ago. So we talked about the backlash Bud Light received after Dylan Mulvaney, a transgender TikTok star, posted a brand deal with the company. Now, a new report from the Wall Street Journal says that 2 executives who made this collaboration possible are now on leave. We reached out to the company for comment.
So she's just said that the 2 executives that made the decision to align the brand, what Dylan Mulvaney or whatever the guy's or the person's name is officially off on leave, right? So they are now not officially working for the company at the moment, okay? Let me rewind it just to be able to add the value.
The Wall Street Journal says that 2 executives who made this collaboration possible are now on leave. We reached out to the company for comment. We have not heard back.
I've been offline for a few weeks, and a lot has been said about me.
No matter how much you lie to us, there's no way that you can change your voice to where I can't recognize exactly what it is that I'm dealing with. If we all in the bar and the music is blaring and everybody is talking and it's loud and you say anything in that voice to me, no matter how many distractions is around me and no matter how many sounds is around me, I know what I'm listening to. I know what I'm listening to. How are y'all getting tricked this easy?
Some of which is so far from my truth that I was like hearing my name and I didn't even know who they were talking about sometimes. It's a very disassociative feeling. And it was so loud that I didn't even feel part of the conversation. So I decided to take the back seat and just let them tucker themselves out. I think it's okay to be frustrated with someone or confused. But what I'm struggling to understand is the need to dehumanize and to be cruel. I don't think that's right.
Let me play the rest of this before I get into it.
You know, dehumanization has never fixed anything in history, ever. What I'm interested in is getting back to making people laugh and...
Nope. Enough of this demonic stuff that's on my screen. I won't entertain it. Let me read Super Chats because I appreciate y'all supporting the platform. Wealth Building Journey says you're always marketing yourself to others, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you care or not, and you should. I 120% agree. Shout out to Wealth Building Journey. I appreciate you. Aaron says there are unlimited bags out there. Go and get you one. Spencer Campbell is in the building. Shout out to my dog, Spencer Campbell. Says, Anton, you always cooking on Bud Light. I don't believe the customers will ever come back. I don't either. I think that once people turn themselves off from something, a lot of times it's very difficult to be able to win them back. Lamb Sauce says that's 2 F-bombs, sir. Well, give me a second. Sometimes I have to say some F-bombs in order to get my point across. I'm working on it. Keep holding me accountable. I love y'all for it. Jake Fever says kids can't be off limits because they don't have kids. Kids can't be off limits because they don't have. Oh, you saying the people that's advocating for it? I don't know. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are some pretty strong advocates for what it is that we see happening in our society today. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get back into the money, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of y'all, and y'all know, as a result of attending the Patreon webinar last night, if you have not checked it out, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. A lot of y'all know of how I handle my money. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I did, in addition to showing you the direct deposits and the payments, is I showed you some of my bank accounts that I have tied to those direct deposits and those payments, right? And so some of you know that I keep very, very little money inside of my bank account. As a matter of fact, here, let me show you what's in my main bank account. Shouldn't be any more than a couple $1,000s in there. I'm broke, baby. Wow, where did that extra money come from? Where did that extra money come from? No, you're not taking my money. We about to go out of town with this baby. We going out of town with this baby. This is my bank account right here, y'all. Broke. I'm broke, baby. I'm broke. We got $3,000 in my bank account. See that? $3,164.39. I'm broke, baby. It's Tight out here in these streets. So the question then becomes, because a lot of y'all say, Anton is out here tapped out. He broke. I think he running out of money. I don't know how he's still able to pay his guests and Charleston White and all of this other type of stuff. How's he able to keep up payroll? I advocate for y'all to get out of savings accounts, right? And I have not watched this video, but people sent it to me, and I've been meaning to go over this for a period of time. Savings or keeping your money in the bank is not ideal. Keeping your money in the bank is not ideal. All right? So I want to go over this video as a result of it, and then I want to react to it. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. And if you want to see how broke I really am, if you want to see my W-2, you want to see my brokerage account, you want to see my payments from YouTube, you want to see how much money I make, be sure to join the Bag Chasers, as Azriel just dropped inside of the chat, so you can see how broke I really am, and you can see how tapped out I am, because I absolutely need y'all help in order to continue to survive and feed my family. And go over to Tokyo and go over to the Dominican Republic and then fly over to Montreal in Canada and then go to Toronto. And then I got to come up with some money to get myself over into the Patreon meetup today. Over this weekend. All right. So reading Super Chat shortly. Thank y'all for continuing to make sure that I'm not too broke. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
In 2022, the American personal saving rate fell to a low not seen since the Great Recession.
I think a lot of people have been just kind of cooped up during the pandemic times, and now we're transitioning plus inflation. So it definitely has.
Hey, Rita, can you get me my $9,000 watch so I can put it on? Because I know I ain't got nothing in my bank account, but I definitely need to have that watch on. It's in my book bag, in the front of my book bag. In one of the front pockets of my book bag. Because I'm feeling a little naked out here because I ain't got no watch game on at all. If y'all want this Follow God, not hoodie culture, Follow God, not culture hoodie, the link is in the description for y'all to be able to pick that up. I think it's only like $60. That's what he said. And it got it on the back. Let me see. Oh, that's dope. This is broke boy culture right here. That's rose gold. Rita just flashed me. This is rose gold right here. All around that's rose gold. See the back of that? This is my Omega. I just got this like a month ago. 2 months ago, I think. Let's continue to watch the show. Reading Super Chat shortly.
It's been a little bit harder.
Economists look at this savings dynamic in a sort of benign light. Savings accrued over the early part of the pandemic, and that's starting to get spent down. But on the personal level, though, that's not a pleasant process.
This real-time dip in saving is stressing out a lot of people.
70% say they are stressed about their personal finances, and that includes 57% of people earning $100,000 or more. And the main factors contributing to financial stress for the six-figure set include inflation, economy-wide instability, interest rates, and a lack of savings.
The basic necessities of life substantially burden your income. It becomes difficult to save.
That said,
Americans are sitting with a lot.
Hey, shout out to the new Bag Chasers. I see a lot of y'all signing up for the Patreon to come and see how broke I am. Give a round of applause for all of the new Bag Chasers. I know y'all want to see how much I'm tapped out. Shout out to the people that's paying to see how broke I am. I'm with that.
More savings than they had in the past.
According to bank deposit records, Americans as a whole are still better off than they've traditionally been. How much depends on which side of the income distribution you're on.
Now, what y'all have to see here, right, is that you have to account for the rate of inflation. So when you're looking at this list and it's saying 1990, 1988, 1996, or whatever, so on and so forth, and then you see 2010, 2022, or 2020, 2018, or whatever, so on and so forth, and you see that upward trend and you see a jump. You also have to account for the value of money today is much different than the value of money in yesteryear, right? The amount of what it costs to buy a house, what it costs to buy a car, what it costs to go and fly and buy a movie ticket and all of these different things, then factor into what we would contribute as far as what the assets level or the check deposits or the currency that we're then using to justify this chart right here. So let's just take that into consideration.
Regardless, Americans across the board were drawing down those savings in the final quarter of 2022. So why did Americans stop saving? And what effect will that have on this massive group of people that we call the economy?
My name is Michael, but the interwebs know me as the Bougie Budgeter.
Woo! Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Michael. I didn't know they was going to hit me with a Bougie Budgeter black woman. I love reacting to black women. Black women, they going to give you either an extreme version of broke or they're going to give you an extreme version of budgeting. We know that some of them can't cook, the most recent black woman that's been born. What's up to my girl, Sherelle? I love you, Sherelle. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Let's see what the Bougie Budgeter is talking about. I want to see what she got going on.
Because I make money easy. I am currently based in Phoenix, Arizona.
The majority of U.S. households use bank accounts. Michael represents one of these households.
I do take about 8% of my total income, and that is to my 401 contributions. My company matches at 8%.
It's not a 401, it's a 401k contribution. I know she probably got tripped up in her verbiage, but okay.
I also try to save an additional 15%, as well as another about 10% of my take-home pay I put towards my investing goals as well.
So that's pretty good. So she's saying 8% is contributed towards the 401k. Let me just hear her one more time.
Save an additional 15%, as well as another about 10% of my take-home pay I put towards my investing goals as well.
So let me tell you what's wrong with this scenario, because a lot of people are off. And this is why I say a lot of people don't understand money. Doesn't mean that she's not doing the right thing, but the numbers are skewed because she's saying it's based off of her take-home pay. Her take-home pay. I love you, Sherelle. I'm sticking beside you too, baby girl. So this is not based off of what she grosses. This is based off of what she takes home. So when she's saying a percentage of her take-home pay is being allocated towards it, then that changes the dynamic and the conversation altogether. Because one of the incentives that you have as a business owner, as a person that's contributing into your 401k, your contributions or whatever like that, is that you get the pre-tax deduction that then changes how much your adjusted gross income you're being taxed on in the end. So at the end of the year, right, when you get your 1040, okay, your adjusted gross income is the amount that they tax you on. And that's going to be the determining factor for whether you get a refund or you have to owe money, right? Now, the adjusted gross income is your money that you made minus the tax deductions plus what it is that you contributed, what came out of your taxes, minus what you made or plus what you made from your business. That's what your adjusted gross income is, okay? So when she's saying her take-home pay, that's after she pays the federal government. I believe that you should allocate at least paying 10% to yourself in the very beginning of your pre-tax income. If you make $100,000 a year, then you should be paying yourself at least $10,000. Also, on top of that, make sure that you guys are getting at least up to the match before you start paying off your debt. The only time that I say that you shouldn't pay off your debt first is to not get the free money associated with the 401k. So a lot of y'all got jobs. A lot of y'all are not getting the match. A lot of y'all not even contributing to your 401k. While you have debt, you should allocate monies towards paying off the majority of your debt first, but make sure that pre-tax you are at least getting up to the match because it's free money from your employer for what it is that you contribute into your contributions, okay? Just because you can't pick it up and you can't see it and you can't use it doesn't mean it's not free money that you shouldn't take advantage of. So she's basically saying 8% goes into her 401k, which we do also know that there's a difference between a 401k and a Roth 401k. And then she gets 15% going to savings and then another 8% or 10% or something post-tax that's going into her personal investments, which I'm sure is some combination of personal stocks, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or something like that. But let's continue.
So my personal savings rate after my take home, I shoot for about a 15%, and I have my savings auto deposited right into my high yield savings account, because if I do not do that, then I will accidentally spend it, and I am a recovering overspender. And
Somebody in the chat said that they usually keep $30,000, which is the equivalent of about 6 months, I guess, for them in living expenses in a savings account. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me because your money should always be in assets that work for you, that generate more revenue for you, or at the very least is beating the rate of inflation. So you keeping it in a savings account is actually not doing anything for you. What it's actually doing is lowering the amount of money that you're making because it's being eroded based off of the value of the dollar and the cost of living expenses every single day. So what I advise, well, I'm not going to advise you anything. I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I believe in getting rid of the money. At the very least, you need to get rid of all the debt first, right? Because we know what you're paying in debt. We know what you're paying in credit card interest. We know what you're paying to your mortgage. We know what you're paying towards your car note. Anytime you have to give money over into the servicer of your loan, you're giving away free money. It's not about maintaining living expenses. It's about reducing the cost of how much it costs you to live on a month-to-month basis by getting rid of the debt that then prevents you from being able to leverage your assets to make more money. So let's continue. I don't believe in savings accounts. I do not believe in savings accounts. Let me make that very, very clear. I am not an advocate for savings accounts. I'm not an advocate for keeping and holding on to cash. I'm an advocate for holding on to assets that then generate cash or generate revenue or that you can tap into in order to pull money out of in order to do other things that's big for you. I'm not a fan of savings accounts at all.
That was my solution to not overspending.
Collectively, Americans have trillions more in savings than they did prior to the pandemic.
For a broad swath of Americans, their financial condition is still probably better than it was pre-pandemic.
But those cash cushions are deflating for the first time in years. The personal saving rate reflects how much income Americans hold onto after their taxes and regular spending.
It's basically just the amount of that is not consumed.
Much of that income, particularly for what I define broadly as underserved communities, tends to go toward basic necessities like housing, food, healthcare, transportation.
In February 2023,
This is lifestyle. So basically in 2023, the personal savings rate is the equivalent of 4.6%, which is not even paying yourself enough to justify going to work every day. Because a lot of people are tied to lifestyle creep. They use the money that they then have to be taxed on in order to then maintain a lifestyle.
Personal saving rate was hovering around 4.5%. That's compared to a long-term average of just under 9%.
You would see spikes around the dates when those stimulus checks were sent out and those were not getting spent. Of course, the other thing that happened early in
Somebody in the chat said, what about an emergency fund? Where do you hold your money in an emergency fund? I don't have no fucking emergency fund. What do I need an emergency fund for? Why do I need an emergency fund? My ability to be able to get to more money is all that I need. At any point, I can liquidate a position in a holding that I have and a company that I have. What do you need? So wait a minute. Listen, this is what I say. If you need more than $5,000 at any point, that means that you're probably doing something illegal and you just need some bail money, 10% bond just in case you go to jail. What do I need more than a few $1,000s or $5,000 at any point for? Just curious. What do I need more than a few $1,000s for? Help me to understand what you need more than a few $1,000s for at any point for an emergency. For an emergency, what do you need more than a few $1,000s for? I'm waiting. Somebody said, well, what if you lose your job? So you saying you're going to get evicted tomorrow? Just curious. Do they immediately evict you once you lose your job? First of all, I got about 7 or 8 different streams of income. I don't give a fuck about losing no job. I don't care about losing no job. Just curious. Are they going to evict you tomorrow? Is your mortgage due tomorrow? You can't get it's not going to take 1 or 2 business days before you have to pay for it? What are y'all talking about? Somebody said a car repair. So you need more than $5,000 for a car repair? I'm curious. I'm listening. I'm reading the chat, and I'm trying to figure out what you need more than a few $1,000s for at any given period of time. For an emergency. If you get kidnapped in Mexico. Ain't none of y'all actually coming up with nothing. You can't even think about nothing. None of y'all can actually say anything that you need all of this additional $30,000 for. Let me tell you something, bro. If I just lost every single stream of income that I have, and I got a lump sum of money, let's say I'm sitting on $50,000 in cash. I'm not using it for that. I'm going back to the mud. There's no way that I'm going to use my cushion to maintain a lifestyle until I can build the cushion back up. No, I'm fucking getting rid of everything. I'm getting rid of everything. If I'm sitting on $30,000 to $50,000 and I lose everything, right? I'm going back into the mud. We about to move in together, me and my brothers or something like that, right? Anything. Whatever it is that we got to do, but it's no way that I'm spending my money on maintaining a lifestyle. I'm going to the mud. I'm getting rid of every fucking thing. I don't need nothing. Y'all don't got insurance? So the hospital was kicking y'all out for not having insurance? Listen, hospitals cannot kick you out for not having insurance, A. But B, you should be having medical insurance. That's what I got a job for. My medical insurance covers any kind of hospital visits. I have great medical insurance. I got great healthcare coverage. Y'all don't even know. Y'all holding on to money so that you can buy things that you don't actually need, and then you can justify it, or you just need that safety cushion, that mentality of holding a whole bunch of money that you don't need to hold, and then it's continuing to erode because it doesn't even beat the rate of inflation. What are y'all talking about? I don't see anybody giving me a justification of why you need that type of money. So I'm going to continue to go. I'm reading Super Chat shortly.
And the pandemic is people were not spending money on the things that they were accustomed to spending on.
As inflation has set in, the monthly saving rate has taken a tumble. This rate only describes 1 month of earning and saving. Take a look at the total deposits held by customers at banks, and you'll see that there's way more value in people's accounts than any time before the pandemic.
A lot of people would point to excess savings that occurred early in the pandemic, something like $2 to $2.5 trillion in savings.
Let me tell y'all what happened during the pandemic. Well, I'll break that down in a minute.
Above what we would have otherwise expected were saved by American households. Over the past 9 to 12 months, that stash of savings has eroded. It's probably somewhere in the $1 to $1.5 trillion range.
You had folks across the country accumulating.
Somebody said, what if you got a death in the family? Rita, how much did it cost me to bury my father? And he had a great funeral. I know, I can tell you exactly how much it cost, but I don't know if you know. Somebody said, what if you got a funeral? Let me see. I don't even have to call nobody. It cost me the equivalent of, I think, it's funny because I remember a guy said, yeah, and I'm going to go by, I was standing at Anton's father's grave, and I was pissing on it. You know, they was being disrespectful or whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah? Well, where is he buried? Because my father is cremated. It cost me like, we had the funeral. It was a really great procession. We had it at the funeral home or whatever and everything like that, and then we wound up cremating him. And it cost me like $5,000. Cost me $5,000. Hold on one second. Let me go. This is my guy, Charleston. Yo, what up, C?
Say, what's up, Anton?
A bit of a war chest of savings, and that really has helped to buoy the economy, particularly in a place like the US where consumption is such a big part of GDP.
The top half of earners have over $1 trillion in excess savings. That's nearly 3 times as much as the bottom half, according to federal economists. But they believe the lower half still collectively holds hundreds of billions in excess savings. By their count, it breaks down to about $5,500 per household. A note here, this may not mean that you have $5,000 in spare cash laying around. It may have gone to pay off that amount in student debt, or a mortgage, or a car, or towards your retirement.
Let me tell you the real interesting thing about this whole situation, though. What y'all don't understand is that if you look at your car note, right, and this is what I want y'all to do. If you look at your car note, or not even your car note, look at your statement that you get every month. Most people just ignore it and they get an electronic statement, an e-statement. And look at your car payment. Look at your house payment. Look at your credit card statements. Look at all of these different things that y'all buying, right? Y'all hold this money, but then y'all make bad decisions on a daily basis as to what it is that you are investing in the first place. Let me say it one more time. Y'all sit here and save money, live a dumb lifestyle, and then make payments on things that don't add value into your life. So when you have a credit card bill, for example, and you're carrying a balance on a month-to-month basis, and you got a 27% interest rate, or you got a 18% interest rate, or a 21% interest rate, and you look at the payment that you're making over into the mortgage company, right? And you look at the payment that you're making over into the car company, you're literally giving away free money every single time that you hold on to that debt. You're giving away free money every single time that you make a payment. When you get that 30-year mortgage, and you look at that payment, and that payment breakdown is you got $1,000 mortgage and $950 is going towards the interest payment, and then the other $50 in the beginning of the mortgage is going towards the principal. You're giving them a free $950 because you don't want to pay off the debt faster, because you want to hold on to the money in order to feel, not actually be, but feel more secure about where you are in life, or your ability to be able to maintain a lifestyle if anything was to ever go wrong in your life. Y'all give away free money every single day. Every day, because you trying to make sure that you feel a certain type of way instead of doing. The math is in my favor. The math is in my favor. The math says that I'm right. The math says that I'm right. The math says that I'm patient enough to actually prevent myself from ever paying monthly payments and interest on stuff that does not have any value into my life. Larry Walker said it cost him $7,000 to bury his mother. Funerals ain't got to be expensive. That's because y'all want to ride with horse-drawn carriages and gold plates on something that's going into the ground. Yeah, they want to do all of the dumb stuff. Our priorities is out of order as a culture. I'm not even saying as black people, because as a culture, as an American culture, as a Western culture, as people that embrace a hip-hop culture all across the board, our priorities is out of order. Financing is designed to make the finance companies and the car companies more money because it allows for them to be able to sell more vehicles, and it allows for the finance company to capitalize off of the fact that you don't have the money or you refuse to sit down long enough to generate the revenue and save up the revenue to then get you where you need to go from to and from A to B as cheap as possible until you can actually build up enough assets that then provides for your lifestyle, and then you can buy whatever it is that you want to buy. Nope, you got to have 4G autos, and you got to have a sound system, and you got to be out there taking care of that hoe and buying stuff at the bar that you can't even afford to anyway. No, you want to drink Don Julio and 1738 and all of this other type of junk, right? You want to drink Woodford Reserve and all of this stuff. Man, take your ass to the bar, network effectively, and go and get you a Diet Coke. Get you a Sprite. If she gonna let you bust it open, she gonna let you bust it open anyway. Go and get you a Sprite. Why you gotta be out there drinking and trying to keep up with the Joneses? You're not even built like that. Go and get you a Sprite. Go and kick it with your friends at the bar. Walk around and then take your ass home after you exchange some Instagram profiles with some people. Go and have some fun and get you a Sprite, homie. Get you a Sprite. Get you an appetizer. Get you an appetizer. No, I got to be down there on the floor with Anton. You ain't got Anton money. You ain't got Anton money. I have no debt. I have nothing that I owe anybody whatsoever. At all. We different. So when I spend money, I'm just spending it. I showed y'all yesterday. I showed y'all my accounts. I went through my back end. I showed y'all a lot of the stuff. I showed you the $30,000 in plane tickets that I bought over to Tokyo. I can do that because I paid cash for my stuff. I paid cash for my plane tickets over to Tokyo, and they cost me the equivalent of about $31,000. No, y'all got Klarna, Afterpay, before pay, during the pay, after the pay. And then you getting the fees racked up on top of it, and you late, and you ain't even got $1,000 to be able to carry you over if you have an emergency. Our priorities is fucked up. It's out of whack. So crazy.
37% of Americans have not touched their pandemic savings. And 45% of Americans either haven't touched it or have taken out a little bit, but the majority is intact. Only 17% of Americans have pretty much exhausted their pandemic savings.
Though that cushion may be beginning to shrink.
Inflation and the implications for that across categories, whether it be food, whether it be fuel, whether it be rents, you're seeing cost inflation that eats into clearly people's current income, but also to the extent they...
Fuck all of that. Fuck all of that. Here's the thing. Y'all want to know the finesse? You want to know the finesse? You working 40 hours a week, you need a second job, homie. You need a hustle, you need a second job, you need to start a business, you need to start leveraging your time more effectively to go and get that money instead of entertaining these hoes. They gonna be there. They ain't never going nowhere. It ain't never gonna be a shortage of pussy that's available for you. It ain't gonna be they not running out of pussy. They make new pussy every day. They're not running out of holes for you to be able to bust down. There is no shortage. It's not a pandemic on pussy. All right. It just gets cheaper over time. The going rate during the pandemic was like $39.99, $38 for a box of pussy. Go and get you another job. Go and get you some hustle. Work that overtime. Go and get that bag. Come and join the Bag Chasers over on Patreon so I can teach you how to start a business and then leverage that business in order to pay less in taxes, because the federal government incentivize real estate holders and business holders the most, but you still don't understand how to do your bookkeeping correctly. I break that down inside of the Patreon. Go and get you another job and then go and get that bag and then fuck these hoes. Forget them. Forget them. They're going to be there. The same people at the bar on the corner 2 years from now is going to still be at that same bar drinking Bud Light right after Delvin Mulvaney. They ain't going nowhere. They're not going nowhere. Y'all need to stop. Man, get this off my screen. I ain't talking about this. Y'all need to stop focusing and worrying about your current circumstances and make the decision to do the thing that's in your best interest long term. Go and get that bag, man. Go and get a second job. Go back to school. Go back and run that checkup. Do all of the things that's going to be in your best interest long term. Y'all so busy worried about another nigga's pockets. Y'all so busy worried about what it is that I'm busting down. You want to know what I'm busting down? Millions. Millions. Every single day, we try to figure out how to spend this motherfucking money so that we can run up even more money as a result of it. Don't be worried about whether or not I ain't never seen a broke nigga try to figure out whether or not another dude is broke. I ain't got time to be worried about whether or not somebody else is broke. My time is going to be better spent trying to figure out how it is that I can run the checkup. And then more importantly, I'm going to come back and try to help you to understand how I ran the checkup so you can do it too. I ain't never seen a bunch of broke people trying to figure out how broke another nigga is. What the fuck we talking about? So y'all, that's what we doing? That's what we doing. We broke people spend their time trying to figure out whether or not somebody else is broke. Meanwhile, the person that they trying to figure out whether or not they broke is running up the checks. Running it up insane. Out of control. Boy, my hoodies and my sweaters be costing like $1,000. I got sweaters over there that y'all ain't even seen me wear yet. Hey, Rita, hand me one of them Coogis over there. You know I'm going old school. Everything that I'm wearing today is custom. It got AD on it, or it's going to be 80s. I'm going all the way back to the 70s and the 80s. Give me that one. No. Give me that one. Not that one. I wore that one before. Give me that one. They ain't seen that one yet. I got sweaters that cost what y'all mortgage costs. We ain't even broke this one out yet. I love this one. They shipped this one straight to me from Australia. This mug is so fly. This mug is so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. They said, Anton, you so old school. What you still rocking Coogee for? Because I can. Because I can. Because that's what we do over here. Jackets, $2,000. These niggas is trying to figure out, man, my watch, it looks so normal. It's so plain Jane. I spent almost $9,000 on my watch. We ain't the same. What you doing over there trying to figure out whether or not somebody else got it? You need to be spending time trying to figure out whether or not you can run it up. We so backwards. We so stupid. Instead of asking a dude how you got it, they trying to figure out whether or not it's yours or not. I rode it, didn't it? I drove in it, didn't it? It ain't got to be in my name. I ain't got nothing in my name. I ain't got a piece of real estate in my name. I ain't got a sweater in my name. I ain't got a card in my name. When I show y'all my credit score, do you y'all listen. Let me tell y'all how I move. When I show y'all my credit score and stuff, and when I open up Credit Karma and y'all see this 8-something credit score and stuff like that, don't you know that I don't even have a credit card in my name? When y'all see this right there, when y'all see that 807, don't you know that I don't even have a credit card in my name, that I'm just a, what do you call it, Rita? An authorized user? Don't you know that I've never even really applied for a credit card, that I'm just an authorized user? I'm an authorized user. I'm benefiting off of somebody adding me to their cards and all of their other type of stuff in order for me to have the score that I have. I'm an authorized user. I don't even have a credit card in my name. I'm an authorized user. I don't want nothing in my name. trusts, LLCs, the whole 9 yards, man. Don't worry. We got an upcoming Patreon where I'm gonna give y'all all of the game with regard to credit. Give a fuck about no credit. Don't care nothing about that, man. I don't care nothing about anything that is not running the bag up and running the check up. Y'all can sit there and do all of the hard work and working and trying to get your numbers up and all of that other type of stuff. Meanwhile, I'll be chilling. Slow motion, chilling, not caring, running the check up, running the numbers up. Almost every other thing that I rock is free. Thank you for, and the people benefit as a result of it. Yo, Tom, can you wear my hoodie? Hell yeah. 5 days out of the week, half of the stuff that I wear is actually free. Now, you guys benefit of it because now you're going to get the sales to your website for whatever your merch is doing and stuff like that. We all win. I get to rock free stuff. The stuff that I actually spend my money on is assets because it appreciates and it maintains its value and it beats the rate of inflation. And y'all still trying to figure out whether or not somebody is getting to the bag. Man, if y'all don't wake the fuck up and start paying attention to your business, the one thing that I learned, and it'll be in any business book, whether you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or you go to the Richest Man in Babylon, The Alchemist, you can go over to The Intelligent Investor, Buffettology, The Random Walk Down Wall Street, the whole 9 yards. The one thing that they're going to simultaneously and they're going to teach you, this is what they're going to say. Mind your business. Minding your business means that you need to figure out how you can get the check or you can align yourself with somebody else that is actually getting the check or getting the bag so that you can then level up as a result of it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Put yourself in a position to be successful. I've never used a credit repair service in my entire life. I've never used a credit repair service in my entire life. Not one. You don't need a credit repair service at all in order to run your check up and in order to run your score up. At all. You don't need it. Don't worry. Patreon members, I did a webinar last night. I showed y'all how much money I'm busting down on a monthly basis just from certain things. Enjoy life. Follow God, not the culture. Follow God, not the culture. Link to the hoodie is in the description. As well as pinned to the top of the chat for y'all to tap into the Patreon. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to get it popping. Speeds the Beast says, keep doing God's work. It's priceless. Shout out to Speeds the Beast. Jake Fever says, Wade whipped and that ain't Gabby Kid, but I feel you. Facts. One guapa load says, how much is too much money to keep in your home? Any more than a couple $100 at a time? You don't really need no cash. The only time that I really carry cash is if I'm moving some money around, and so I might carry cash because I'm going somewhere, or I might be tipping somebody or going to the casino, or somebody might need a cash payment or something like that. But I don't really carry cash like that at all. Here, I'll show y'all my tip money. Dang, I ain't even got it on me right now. Lewis Alfred Nicholas Stalwart says, gold and silver in your possession runs no counterparty risk. Shields are made of metal, not paper or promises. I like that. That's absolutely awesome. Smooth Will says, there's a soup kitchen I could recommend. Jake Fever in the building also says, what asset generates revenue besides real estate? Everything. Every single thing can be labeled as my watches are an asset. The sneakers that I decide to buy that I wind up moving or maintain as value based off of the fact that I never wore them could be an asset. Anything can be an asset. An appreciating asset is something that continues to grow in value over time the longer that you hold on to it. Every single watch that I've ever, maybe not this one because this is an Omega, but it maintains its value. But every Rolex that I've ever bought is worth more than what I paid for it, right? Your investments in specific stocks, my holdings in Netflix, Apple, Microsoft, all of those things are assets, right? Anything where you can hold your money and it makes money for you or it appreciates over time is an appreciating asset. And real estate is one of the best assets. Elliot Jackson got a few. Let's see. Insurance, deductibles, equity positions, at the very least, indexed whole life. All the people without these are the ones with emergency funds. It's crazy. Sounds a lot like a lot of people need coaching calls. Facts. Whole life insurance, certain types of health insurance cover most everything that comes up. Being cheap is more expensive than spending the actual money. And people are too cheap to even invest in themselves. Shout out to Ash, says the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda is a deliberate strategy to open the door to legalize pedos in the future. Specifically, the plus is to silence for the P. Wow, I didn't know that. This could happen if Democrats are allowed to pack the courts. LGB community not on board. Thank you for the insight. That's pretty interesting. I didn't even realize what the plus meant. Salute AD. When are you going to open up back the calls? I graduate this month and start FT in October. No debt, invested savings, etc. We need to connect. Give me about a month. Give me about a month because I'm trying to clear up my calendar and I'm trying to make sure that I take care of everybody that's already aligned with me. Let's see. Jake Fever says, if you don't owe money, you can keep a cushion as big as you want in the bank. It's like buying designer clothes, not making you money, but it looks good. Brock is in the building, says, Pastor Love offering. Thank you for the live stream last night. You continuously give out invaluable game, and I have no idea how I can repay you by continuing to win and continuing to be the best version of yourself. You becoming awesome is a way that you repay me because then you are a part of my network and we can leapfrog off of each other to become successful. Ash says, AD, lastly, the TQ plus community does not want to come together because they really want your kiddos. Shout out to Ash. And the TQ want free access to female spaces. I'm about to start doing it. Charleston gave me the game. He said, Anton, all you got to do is say that you identify as a woman and go in a woman's bathroom and pull your pants down by your ankles and then let them see that D. That's what he told me. I don't know. I'm going to have to test it out, see if I get arrested as a result of it. Jeremy Hampton says, you don't know how much I appreciate you, brother. I needed that talk yesterday. Me and Jeremy Hampton had a coaching call yesterday. Shout out to Jeremy Hampton, my guy. I've been pouring into you for about a year now, and you have made significant strides as a result of it. Bag Chasers Unite. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. If you're not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. The Follow God, Not Culture hoodie is available. That link is in the description for y'all to be able to tap into the website. I love you. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are absolutely awesome. Same time tomorrow. Millionaire Morning Show, the greatest on earth, and the Patreon is the biggest game that you're going to get on the internet, period. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.